What is up, everybody? It's Calpsy, and today I'm bringing you guys what looks like the resurgence of New World. So, New World, if you didn't know, is an MMO that came out in 2021, published by Amazon Games, and personally, I've always enjoyed it to an extent, and it had a downfall, and then a pretty long period of shakiness with a really low player count, especially compared to how it started. And then moving from that, they had a DLC called Angry Earth. And then after that, they announced, I'd say about last year or so, they announced that Aeternum was coming out. And with Aeternum, it was going to go and get put into console. Well, the release was yesterday. And as you can see around me, it is absolutely jumping. So it got so crowded yesterday that a lot of the servers, because it's a realm-based game where you choose the server you play in, and you can switch servers, but the server-based game, most of the servers, if not all of the new servers, locked character creation because of how many new players they had. The game actually hit in the top 100 yesterday for most sold game on Steam. I think it was like number 62. It was nothing crazy. But going from completely just fucking dead, like if you look at the Steam charts, and I'll bring this up in a second. If you look at the Steam charts and then you look at the fact that it hit 100, it's in the top 100. It's crazy. Like 2 months ago, it had like less than 5,000 players on average. And then yesterday, it hit almost 60,000 players just on Steam, not counting console. And by looking at Zone Chat, it's a shit ton of console players. So it's jumping. Everything looks good. It's playing so well. So I just want to touch on a few things, show you guys what the game has to offer, and then explain why I don't think the initial problem that killed the game is going to be a problem in the future. So let's start out with what the game has to offer. So first, I'll say that I think the crafting in New World is one of my favorite newer MMOs with crafting. So if we open up, there's a lot of skills, but in trade skills, these are your crafting skills. You can make your weapons, you can make armor, you can make tools and different gadgets for it to add on to your tools. You can do jewelry, you can do magic, like the magic weapons. There's like magic gauntlets and books and weapons and potions. And then there's cooking, and then there's furnishing for your house. And then on top of that, there's like music, where you play music in towns and people will tip you. And if you tip the person, you get a buff for tipping the person. There's your mount riding, there's fishing, and the fishing in this game is phenomenal. It's like it's almost like if you've ever played Sea of Thieves, where like you have to watch the strength of the line, and then you like click it and there's like a little bar. It's great. And mining, so you actually go out and mine the ore, a lot like, I think the crafting, I've always related the crafting side, it's a lot like RuneScape, but in the new era, because it's not as old as RuneScape, and like the game looks better, and it's got a lot more little nuances than RuneScape, but it has the same thing where you actually have to go out and get the ore, smelt the ore into bars, and then use the bars to blacksmith, or go out and chop down trees. You physically chop down trees. You don't like find resource nodes. Like you go out and chop down a tree, you take the tree to the lumber mill, then you process it to boards, planks, whatever you need, and then you move that on to actually making things like bows, staves, like stuff like that. Stone cutting, where you just use rocks and you can make all sorts of stuff. Like there's so many cool things. Like you find sheets of music to learn new songs. You do quests to get new instruments. Like there's so much stuff to do in just the non-combat zone, which is this stuff. Like you can get lost in the sauce on just non-combat, because like all the way up to Mithril at 205 mining, 250 for prismatic leather. Like there's so many crazy things you can do on here that it's just awesome. The sky is the limit, and I personally think that they're going to keep adding content with how many new players there are. So I just wanted to touch on this with crafting. It's just crazy. Like just top tier crafting on this game. Now, next is weapons. So there's 15 weapons you can choose from. One-handed, two-handed, ranged, magical. Of course, magical is also ranged. So for healing, I'll start out here. We'll separate the things. For healing, there's the flail and shield and the life staff. Flail and shield, I'm not 100% sure if this does heal, but you get attribute points, and flail and shield and void gauntlet all go up with focus, which is the only thing that the life staff goes up with. So if you're going to heal, there's flail, shield, there's a void gauntlet, which looks really cool, and then there's the life staff. Now, as you see, I'm only using these two because I made a brand new character just for the new release, because I wanted to play alongside of everyone else, because I like being a part of the pack and getting able to see everyone do all the fun stuff, because I think it's fun that way. For tanking, there's stuff like the Warhammer, the Great Sword, the Sword and Shield, and then for DPS, there's just an absolute silly amount of stuff. I love the Fire Staff and the Ice Gauntlet. I think they're a blast. The skills look really cool. Like with my Fire Staff right now, I've got a little area, Flame Pillar Detonation. I can call down some meteors. Then I've got a fireball I can throw, and then I've got a little ice pillar I've set down, and it auto attacks things, and I can do like this little blizzard along with like a little roadblock of ice. Like there's plenty of fun things, and each weapon has 3 skills and then an ultimate on each side, and then a bunch of little passives. So there's a lot of fun things that you can like play with and jump in and out of. There's a lot of uniqueness that you can do with the builds yourself. And like with the Warhammer, you can do things that do more stuns and things that do more like, well, okay, sorry, I did it wrong. Crowd Crusher, things to do like group stuns and like big AoEs and then just beating people up. So the weapons themselves, there's a lot of variability. There's a lot of different skins and transmogs for all of them. I think they all look good. And then of course, the crafting allows you to create everything here. There's not going to be anything that's like locked behind non-crafting. So there's a lot of skills, which leads to a lot of different avenues and unique combat situations. And I think all that's just really interesting. So the base core game is just laden with unique and fun activities and abilities to like change things and do things your own way. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is just the actual PvP content. So PvP is a pretty big portion of this game. Now, you don't have to do it. You don't have to feel forced or like persuaded to do it. But in the game, there are 3 factions. There's green, which is the Marauders. There's yellow, which I think is the Covenant. And then there's purple, which is the Syndicate. So unlike a lot of other games, this actually has open world PvP, just like current retail WoW, where you turn on war mode or PvP, but you have to join a faction first. So like I'm not in a faction because I'm waiting to meet up with friends and figuring out what faction they're on. So you pick a faction and you can turn it on, and then once you leave the safety of a town, which you'll see the little dotted line there, once you leave the safety of a town, your PvP will engage, and then everywhere else you can fight other players that also have their PvP on. If you do not have it on, you cannot fight other players. That's very like strict. It's not like Fallout 76 where you just do reduced damage. It's just straight up, your attacks won't hit. So PvP is fun because you go and you pick up these quests from like the quest givers for your faction. So there's the Covenant, the Syndicate, and the Marauders. So I got those right. And then you will pick up your quests, and it's usually like go to fucking Stolen Shores and kill some NPCs, and then go pick up this and do that, and like it'll take you around the area. And so you do those, and it gives your faction PvP XP for the area, and then you can actually take over the towns. So this is called the Oxborough Hamlet, which means it's the lowest rank settlement, and they have to do town board quests to upgrade that city. And let's see if one of the other ones right now, that's a hamlet. Okay, so no one's been pushing really hard. Yeah. And I don't know if it's because it's just the first day or if nobody just really cares to do it at the moment, but you can basically take over these places, and then once you take them over, then you can do quests there to upgrade the town, and then bring in resources, and it will upgrade things like inside the town. There's stuff like this where Rawhide Supply Cart. If you're a part of the Syndicate and the Syndicate owns that town, you actually supply your people with more shit. And the higher upgraded the town is, the better stuff that supply cart will drop, and it drops frequently. Now, when another faction owns it, you do have to pay increased taxes, and that is a little bit of an issue, and I'll touch on that in a little bit. But overall, that's part of the PvP, where there's the settlements, where you want to have your company, which is a guild, or your faction, take over the town or the settlement or the territory, so that then you get more buffs and you get more leeway. And then like there's forts, and forts have these really big fights where you go up and like this whole courtyard opens up, and then you go in and you fight the other companies and the other factions that take over the forts, and then you have to purchase the fort, and then you get influence bonuses and experience bonuses, as you can see there, and then global Azoth salt bonus 10% for the whole faction. So like you want your faction to hold the most forts and the most stuff, which really leans into a PvP centric thing. So although PvP is big, you don't have to do it, and you can support the people that do the PvP by helping them out with PvE things to let them get better gear higher, level up, and then be stronger in PvP. So although it's not required, it is a major part of the game, and I personally think it's one of my favorite ways that PvP is integrated into a newer MMO, because this really brings me back to classic WoW, where you're just out and you see someone and it's on site. So I'm a big fan. Now, on the PvE stuff. Now, right now, since the game basically just full redid, you won't see a lot of it. But so there are things like this, which are corrupted portals. And corrupted portals will show up, and they'll have these little festering hives. And then those are like evil NPCs that fuck off and run around their dicks. You'll see like the little zombie boys in trailers and whatnot. That's that. It's all icky and red, and you go and you fight it, and you bring like your Azoth staff, and you like tell it to fuck off. It's fun little world events, and they pop up a lot. And if nobody contests the city long enough, the corruption will contest the city. So even places that are like super defended and like hardcore PvP players are like protecting it, the game will still tell them to fuck themselves, and then they'll go after it. So then the PvE players still get to come in and aid. Now also, unlike other games, most of the weapons that are good in PvP are also good in PvE, and vice versa. Like, if you're like me and you like magic, yeah, someone who's really good with a great sword is going to get over on me when he's up on me. It's going to happen. But if you're really good with a great sword, you can do both PvP and PvE pretty much seamlessly. And on this game, with PvE, you can kind of do whatever you want. So you can respec. I think it costs me money now because I'm over level 20. But like, let's see. Free until level 60. So like you can respec and like do whatever you want. Weapon mastery, yes, you'll have to get your levels up, because these don't like transfer like it. You literally level up the weapon skill. So if I switch to Dex and I wanted to use a spear, I'd have to use the spear to level it up to get the right skills. But it doesn't take very long. And honestly, the combat in this game is so fluid and enjoyable. I really don't find it a chore. And I'm doing magic right now because I like magic the most. I just think it's fun. Now, there's expeditions and dungeons and things of that nature that I haven't gotten onto in this character yet. But like this, Shattered Obelisk, you have to be level 24. You go in there. It's like a group event. There's Amrite. I don't know how to find them on the map. But you can go into activities. You can go into the activities page. You can click on expeditions, which I can't get into because I don't have an Azoth staff because I've been slacking and I've just pushed for my mount. And so you get that from doing the main quest, and then you have to be level 25, which will be around that when you get there. So there's soul trials, which are solo instance queues that you go up. These are enjoyable. I did one that's in the original storyline, not the original storyline, the main storyline that like teaches you how to do it. Went into one, it was fun. And there are outpost rushes. Be the first to 1,000 points, 3v3 arenas. So that's PvP, as you can see. And then there's these 3 things that let you ready up. There's raids up to 10 players. There's expeditions, which are 4 players. So solo delves, solo stuff, soul trials, solo, expedition, 4-person, dungeons, mutated expeditions, hard dungeons, raids up to 10 people, elite trials, battle the colossal Sha Nishin, the Devourer, up to 20 players, minimum of 12. So this would be like a WoW raid. This would be like an Elder Scrolls trial. And this would be, it doesn't say how many people can go in there. I'm assuming it's going to be the same as that. So I haven't got a chance to do those because I was very casual in this game when the population died off. So those are the activities and the PvE stuff. There's plenty to do. Don't get me wrong. If you face grind this as hard as possible, you might run out of stuff before the devs have a chance to release more things. But at the moment, I think there is a lot to do. And all of my friends that are on here, we've all been having a blast. Now, I would like to take a moment and explain to you guys what happened before, what caused the exodus and then the dying of the game, and why I personally don't think it's going to happen again. So first, I'm going to explain what happened. So when you first started, it's a realm-based game, but there was no way to transfer. So if you made a character and, I don't know, a streamer came in, let's say fucking XQC came in and made a character on your realm, and it just blows up, you were just going to be in queue for 4 hours, or you were going to restart a character. That's just how it was. And now you can go to the store, and I can't tell you how often they give these. I have some for free. I don't know if you have to pay, new players have to pay for them. I don't know, because it won't show me. But you can use these. I just used one this morning to transfer the server I'm on to get to my friend, but you can transfer servers now. So that's already not a thing. But originally there was no server transfer. So like when I played, my brother started playing at a different time. My cousin started playing at a different time. A couple of my friends started playing at another different time over the course of like 2 weeks. And then we were all on different servers, and we were all high level and had a bunch of materials, and we didn't want to leave our shit. So it was kind of frustrating. So that was number one, a big issue. Number two was the game was unstable and was crashing. Well, I've been playing this game like a motherfucker for the past day, and so have everyone that I see in the zone, all my friends, and like no one's had a crash. I haven't had a single crash yet. So I don't think that's a problem. And then number three, and this was the reason that made me and my friends quit, was the game charged you fucking taxes like you were a middle-class American. And I'm going to show you what I mean. So in the game, one of the core mechanisms of the game is fast traveling. So as you can see, you have I don't know where the fast travel is in town. When you zoom out, you can see these little guys, the arrows. Fast travel, and it costs 20 of the little blue boys. I think that's that Azoth salt. I'm not sure what it's called. I just call them little blue boys. So I've got almost 1,200. On OG Game Drop, you did not get like that. You'd get like 10 every like main story quest. So it was a pain in the ass. And you didn't want to waste them. So you were using like how it says recall to inn right there. You would make every town that you're going to spend a lot of time in your inn, and then you would travel using that. But then once you use it, there's a cooldown. But if you bought a house, you could fast travel to it for free, and not constantly, but you can still fast travel to it for free. And you get trophy buffs. So I'll show you guys here. Purchase house. I'm not buying it. You boys poor. But you can get trophy buffs in 5 slots. So the trophy buffs give you fucking buffs. You can get like attack buffs, XP buffs, things like that. Well, up here, and fast travel. Fast travel from anywhere to here. 2-hour cooldown. So if you staggered it and you'd spend an hour adventuring each time, you wouldn't have to ever spend money on fast travel to get back to your home base between your inn and your house travel. Well, it's a $20,000 house. You get a discount for your first time buying a house. So what we all did was we got on and we were just grinding to get the money to buy a house. But then once you got the house, you realize that this originally was like 1,500 gold. And it was hard as shit to get that amount of gold. So that right now, as you see, I have almost 2K and I haven't even tried. So like that was passively made $2,000. And before, I remember actively trading and trying to get to like 15,000 gold to buy a house and buy some other stuff. And don't get me wrong, at the time, I wasn't like wheeling and dealing on the market, but the game was brand fucking new. Not many people were. So I was trying to make the gold. I finally got the gold. I bought the house and I was like, cool, fuck yeah. Let me start working towards trophies. I can now fast travel. And then I realized that the taxes were so much, and my guildmates started realizing the taxes were so much, that many of my friends started quitting. And once they started quitting, I'm now in a realm where my friends quit. And then I realized that I was on the Marauders, and then the whole map turned purple. So then I was on a faction that wasn't winning. So I was getting taxed even worse because the owners of the town can choose the taxes. So I'm getting overtaxed on a tax I can't afford. I'm getting taxed to use crafting equipment, and then I'm just getting fucking like they're making the game harder and harder left and right, and I can't change servers, so I just quit the game. And many of my friends quit the game for the same reason. And so then once we all start quitting the game, it ruined the end game, because a lot of the end game is really, at the time, it was PvP, because there was only like 2 or 3 expeditions, and you'd have to walk to them, and there was no mounts, so everything was fucking painstaking to get places. So the big thing was PvP and holding outposts and forts, and then the same faction took over my whole map, and then the realm died. So like I was on a dead server that was ran by one core company that I could not compete with solo, and I was just fucked. So I quit. And that was a story for a lot of people. And there is one other reason that people give, but for me and everyone I personally know, that was all of their reasons. Now, the other reason people gave is that there was a lack of in-game content. And that came more later because there wasn't a lot or any content releases between Game Drop and Angry Earth. And then once Angry Earth dropped, Amazon Studios is like, yo, don't worry, we're going to keep pumping out fucking expeditions and trials. You guys are going to get that content. And they've kind of left it abandoned until Artaeum. Now, Artaeum also didn't actually give much of anything to PC players if you've already played the whole game. If you've already done everything, you've kind of already done most of it, if not everything. I don't know if they added anything. Now, the big thing that I would like to argue with that is they added population. Seeing this town like this, where I was just on here 3 days ago and there wasn't a fucking soul, is outstanding. Like, zone chat's flying, everyone's on. It feels like a brand new game, and the fact that it's 3, almost 4 years old is baffling. And I've never been more excited to be on this game right now. It is like Christmas fucking morning logging on here. It is such a blast. But the game died initially from not preparing for its success, even though Amazon is the one that like shoved it down our throats through Twitch. So they knew it was going to have a big opening weekend. And I honestly think it was also, they made it too sweaty. Like, you had to sweat over it. They made it into a job, and no one wanted to do that. So that's one of the big reasons it failed. And then when the population failed, I don't know if the devs or like the development team just throttled back and said, don't make new content until we patch it to, we plug it into console or what. But I wouldn't doubt that, because I wouldn't have put my all into something that wasn't doing too hot. So there's that. Now I would like to plug one thing that I've always found funny. There's like a huge conspiracy theory about how this game came out and they intentionally just face fucked us with taxes and made everyone hate taxes, because the year following was when everyone started coming out realizing that Bezos was like dipping taxes as much as he is, and he was like avoiding paying taxes, and that Amazon pays less taxes than like most other mid-sized companies, even though it's one of the biggest companies on earth. And the conspiracy theory is that they intentionally made us not want to pay taxes in this game and push the game as hard as they could, so that there were more people that'd be like, yeah, fuck taxes. I don't think that's true, but I just heard it a while ago and thought it was funny. Now, like I said before, to get back on track, I do not think that the game's going to re-die in the same way. And honestly, there's so much content and so much stuff, and the game feels so lively right now, and everyone seems to be having so much fun, and it's running so well, that I think the fact that we were essentially used as 3 years of beta testing, which doesn't bother me. I own Star Citizen. Like, your boy will buy in early. So it doesn't bother me. It runs great right now, and everyone seems to be having a blast. And like, I haven't seen, honestly, anything negative so far. So I fully expect it to be healthy, especially now with like this, where like when I first played, you had to run everywhere, and now I've got a fucking big old fluffy bear I can ride around on, and I can fucking be a fucking basically a forest witch with a fire staff. Come on, shit's fire. But to wrap things up and to give us a little TLDR to chapter off the end of the video, if you're watching this to wonder if you should play New World, if the answer is yes to the questions of do you like crafting and PvP and PvE stuff, then yeah, man. It's got dungeons, it's got solo trials, it's got solo content, it's got group content, it's got large group content, small group content. It has big group PvP, small group PvP, solo PvP. It's got open world PvP. It's got instanced PvP. It's got housing. It's got furnishing. It's got fucking music and bards. It's got almost everything all of our big trope MMOs have these days, along with pretty nice looking graphics. I will give one thing I find annoying. I think the characters look too bright compared to like the background. Mine doesn't because I intentionally made them grungy, but like a lot of the characters, if you like look at the base models, like that lady, she has no dirt on her face. She's standing on dirt. She should be dirty. But other than that, I don't have a lot of I don't have a lot of complaints. And overall, I have always enjoyed the game. I'm not going to sit here and pretend this was an unbiased explanation or review of the game. I've always enjoyed New World, and I've always been on the stance of if New World got a population again, it would take off, no issue. And I think this is it. I think it being one of the only big name MMOs that are cross-play, cross-platform, because this isn't like Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls is cross-platform, but not cross-play, not cross-progression. This is all three: cross-play, cross-progression, cross-platform. You can play your character on PC, walk across the room, log on to it on PlayStation, and play it on PlayStation. You can do whatever the fuck you want. And the game's set up for that. And I think it's a blast. I think everyone should try it. If you're wondering if you should try it, it's a for sure. I do not think the population is going to drop at all. I don't foresee anyone having any problems. Honestly, the only problem that people are having is zone chat because it's fucking full of people on the internet. But as always, guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. Let me know if you're going to play New World, or if you're already on New World, or if you played it on release and you said, fuck that, I'll never go back. It's up to you guys. Thanks so much for checking it out. I'll see you guys later.